Hey artists, it's Miss Mooney back again today with a fun video of some art projects for you to work on. I've got tons of things that I have found around the house to use to make some cool stuff. And I was kind of getting inspired by us going outside last week and getting to see some of the flowers outside. And Mother's Day is coming up soon. So I thought maybe we should make some stuff, maybe some flowers out of cool recycled stuff we have around the house. So stay tuned with me and I'm going to show you how to do a couple of fun things. Okay, so let me show you some of the things that I found that's going to be really fun for us to use. We have been getting a lot of stuff in boxes. I don't know about you, but we have gotten some stuff shipped in lately. And so I wanted to show you some of these things I've saved. I thought might be fun. First of all, I've gotten tons of different types of bubble pops. I know you love these little things that keep things from breaking inside the box. And I've got 3 different sizes of dots on each one. So we can make some really cool stuff with these. More texture like we talked about last time. I've got a huge piece of styrofoam. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with it, but I've got a bunch of it I want to save. A bunch of cardboard. I really like it when it's nice and smooth to use. I've got lids off bottles. I've got a bottle if I want to decide to cut that up. I've got straws left over from our weaving project. And I've got a magazine and some sandpaper. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to create flowers out of these really cool pieces. You're thinking, what can I do with this? This is just trash. But we're going to have fun with it, so I'm going to show you. Okay, so I've got some different colors of green paint. I'm just using these little paints from Walmart. They're really cheap. They're like barely $1 a piece. So I've got some blues and some green and some white. And I'm gonna experiment with my bubble wrap. So let's start with, where's my small bubble wrap? Oh, here we go. All right, this is the smallest one I have. It's got little bitty dots. And so I think I'll start with some green. I think I'm gonna start with the dark green. Now if you get too much paint on there, it's just gonna glob up the dots. You're not gonna be able to tell what it is. So you might start with this a little bit and then work it around. I'm trying to create a texture. I'm doing this on cardboard because I'm trying to create a texture that kind of looks like grass because I'm going for flowers. Just keep that in mind. So what do flowers grow in? They grow in grass. So I'm using a little bit. So I used my small one with the darker green I had. And I'm going to take this other dot pattern. This is it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to stick it into the lighter green. That way I can have some different value, lighter and darker shades. And I even wiped off a little bit of my paint so I didn't have too much on there so you can still see the dots. And I'm going to set it right on top of the darker green. It gives it some depth, like the back of the grass compared to what's down inside compared to what's sitting on top where the sun is hitting it. So look how cool that turned out. This is probably going to be where my flowers sit inside the grass. Isn't that pretty? I could even do a little bit of white if I wanted to, even brighten it up even more. So I would like a sky also, since I've got me some blue out. And you could either use paper, you could use a paper plate, whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to put my cardboard together with my paper. So that way I have it makes my paper a little longer. So I'm going to set my white paper here, move my green out of the way. And I've got some even bigger dots over here. I'm just going to cut a little bit of it off because I don't need the whole piece. And I'm going to use the blue this time. It'll be fun. So let's try the darker blue. Look at that. You can really see the bigger size dots on there. And I'm gonna fill my sky. Now, of course, this is a very dark blue for sky. But I like the way it starts off dark and it starts to get light as I move around the paper because I'm losing paint off my plastic. Oh, look how pretty that's been. Awesome. All right, I think I still want to use this same one, and I'm gonna get a little bit of light blue. Now, don't forget your paint's gonna mix a little bit, but that's okay. And of course, we're making a good old mess today, so make sure that you're in a spot that it's okay if you get a little messy. Oh, that's so pretty. Now I think I need some white on top of that to brighten it up even more. So I'm just gonna sit it down into the white. So notice I started with the dark and then I did the medium and now I'm gonna do the light. I could even make little clouds if I wanted to. Add a little more white. Another cloud. This is so much fun. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to get back to school with you guys. I really, really miss you so much. And I miss being in class and us getting to do fun stuff together. Okay, so there's our messy sky. So we're working on our background. We've got a messy sky, pretty blue sky, and some green grass. So now I'm ready to show you how to do some cool flowers. Hi, okay. I've got a new little tool with me today that's holding my camera for me, and it is amazing, but I'm having to learn how to use it. So, because I'm not very good at these videos, I'm having to learn how to do everything. So, anyway, hopefully you can see okay, that's my main point. Alright, so I got my sandpaper out, and I'm ready to start on my first flower. And you're thinking, sandpaper? That's not going to make a pretty flower. But the cool thing about sandpaper is that it's got a rough texture, so it won't be just a basic plain flower. So I've taken me some crayons. I don't think markers would work very good on this, but crayons would do amazing. If you have any oil pastels, that would be great too. You can mix the colors. I used a little orange. You can do a little yellow on top. And notice I'm just drawing some petals, basically, just some oval shapes. They don't even have to be perfect ovals because flowers are not perfect shapes, basically, but they are in pieces. That's the way we want to think about it. When you think of a flower, you have the center of the flower, and then you have the petals around the flower, and you have the stem of the flower and the leaves. So we're just keeping all those things in mind as we go. We're breaking it down into pieces. So I've gotten my cool coloring done on my sandpaper. And I'm gonna cut each piece out. We're gonna do a lot of cutting this time. If you're not a very good cutter, maybe you're younger and you need help, please have an adult around while you're cutting. If not, remember we only cut things we're supposed to cut. No scissors, no gloves. All right, so I'm still cutting out my petals. And once I put all these together, they're gonna look really neat. So you can already see my shape of my flower coming together. Now, I've got the petals, so that means I'm gonna need something for the center. So I have all sorts of choices right here because I have so many fun things to use. So, my first choice, of course, my first thing that pops in my mind is my Coke top bottles. Now, they're not real pretty at first right now. These that I have are gray. Yours might be green or blue or red, so it's just gray. But if I take a Sharpie, I think you're gonna have to have a permanent marker for this. You could probably color it. You could just paint it. You could just stick it into the paint. I'm gonna try the marker and see how it goes. Because it's plastic, you can color over it. So see, I'm just coloring it with my Sharpie, and it seems to be working pretty good. It may not cover it completely, but it's gonna do a good job. Be careful, it takes a minute for it to dry. So then I take my flower petals and I glue them down together with my new lid I made. I may even want to use a little, let's see, what am I gonna make dots with? I'm gonna stick my marker in the white paint and put some dots on top of my Coke lid just to change it up a little. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so all right, that's one flower we can make. Another flower, you could use yarn. We have some yarn left over maybe from our weaving. You're thinking, how can I put this together to make a flower? Well, you use your white glue. Down on a piece of paper would probably be your best, either paper or cardboard, wherever you can cut out, because you're gonna need to cut it out after. Put your glue down. I'm gonna make some more petal shapes, basically ovals. And I'm just going to take my yarn and stick it on top of that glue. Yeah, I may have to get my finger a little dirty. And at first, y'all are so impatient at school, like, Miss Millie, this is not sticking. I'm like, I know. It doesn't stick right away. You have to let it dry. So there's one of my petals. And then I can make a couple more. All right, I'm working on my second one. I've got lots of house noise going on around me. I hope that it's not bothering y'all. I'm trying to keep it as quiet as I can in here, but I've got 2 crazy dogs and 2 crazy kids running around my house. So they're basically, my house is just like yours probably, especially if you have brothers and sisters, right? Come here, Pom-Pom. So there goes my pink one. Cool, right? So we'll get that flower finished putting together. And I can use whatever I want on the center of it. I could use another bottle. I could, let's see, what else have I got over here? If you had some beads, that would be really cool. Glue some beads down. Let's see, what else could we use? You could use a different color of yarn. Or you could just paint it. Let me see what I've got. Okay, so I've got my petals made on the yarn flower, and I decided I'm going to use a cotton ball for the center. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. So I think I'm going to dip it in my blue paint, because I want it to be blue. I don't want it to be white. I don't want it to look like a cotton ball. I'll put a little glue down in the middle of those yarn pieces and stick it on carefully. That way now I've got 2 flowers made. I decided I was going to go ahead and glue these down for you so you could, that way they don't move around. That's the main thing as they're drying. I'm even going to add, white glue glues most things down pretty well. So it may not glue it immediately like you guys like it to immediately stick, but after you leave it there for a while, like for a couple hours, it dries pretty quick. And so everything will stick to it. Even that heavy plastic will usually stick. Okay, so that's sandpaper, yarn, different recycled stuff. I also thought of magazines, especially right now. If maybe your mom or grandma has any magazines that still come in. Right now they have tons of flowers in the magazines. And so why not use what they have? So you just go in. I tore the pages out. You know, you might get help with this to make sure you don't make anybody mad. Tearing out their good magazines. Maybe they're done with it and they don't mind. Or maybe they're old magazines. You could cut out pictures of flowers, like that. You can, if you're not finding pictures of flowers, what's even better, what I like to do even better is more fun, is find pages that have good color. So I found this ad has a ton of red, and this ad is really pretty pink. I mean, it's an ad, yes, but there's a lot of just pink paper on here. There's an awesome green page I found. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the blank places, around these pictures and cut me some petals. It's almost like the shape of a rainbow with a little more narrow at the bottom. So I can take these and try to make as many as you can out of them, as many as you have paper for. It doesn't matter if they're all the same. And keep going with that till you have a good flower out of those. And then I can take my green paper and cut some leaves. And put those behind my flowers too. So that's really cool. I can use that. Also, I was gonna suggest too, once you do start adding them to your background, after your background dries real good, you probably want it to dry really good, especially if you're using magazines, because they're thin, and if this paper gets wet, it may take away from your pretty project. So let that background, your sky and your leaves dry, your grass dry real good first before you glue everything down. But I thought the straws that we used the other day would be awesome for the stems. If you wanted to glue the stem down to the grass, or maybe to the back of the grass, and then glue your sky down, and then you can put glue your flower down to the paper. So I will show you a picture of my finished piece once it dries real good, so that you can see what it could look like when you're done. Also, keep in mind, these flowers don't have to be flat. They could also be 3D. So you could make them coming off your page a little more. Maybe fold them before you glue them on so that they'll stand up instead of just being flat. So there's all sorts of things you can use. There's some other things I thought of you could use too that I just don't have here. Like I have an egg carton, but I have the plastic ones. So the styrofoam ones are great, and the cardboardy tape filling ones, you can cut those out to make the center of flowers, or to make like daffodils. You paint them yellow and they look amazing. Let's see, what else could you use? There's so many things you could use. You could use paintbrush and, paint them on just however you think is cool. But I hope you had fun with me today, and I really want to see what you're doing. I have a Facebook page. It's called Lee Moomy, but it's my art teacher page. So if you would like to post your pictures on there, please do become friends with me, and I'd love to see what you're doing. So I'll be back again this week to give you another video. So I will be looking forward to seeing you then. Bye.